Hello.
Hi,
Hi, Aretha.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Great. I want to say hi to everybody on my page that are joining us live today. I'm not sure who's on, and I can't see yet, but welcome to one episode of the Future is Female podcast. And I'm so excited today because I have an exciting guest with us. Her name is Aretha Simons. She is the president of Multiplying Talents and the author of The Power of the 501c3. It's a book. We're talking everything nonprofits today. I have so many people that inbox me about nonprofits and inbox me about how to start a nonprofit, what they want to do, and how they're going to do it, how to find the grant money, all that good stuff. And today we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how you can find her, how you can utilize her as a resource, and everything that she knows. We're just trying to pick her brain and see these great things we need to know about nonprofits. So welcome, Aretha.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is fun. I love this social media going live. This is awesome. I'm learning
Isn't
a
it
lot from
awesome?
you. Yes, I'm learning a lot from you.
Okay, good. Can you do me a favor and just lift up your camera a little bit because your mouth, or down. Put it down maybe.
Okay. Now,
Down a little bit more.
how
There
about
we go. We
now
have your
taller?
name. There you go. Your name was covering up your mouth, so we
Oh,
wanted to be able to see you talk.
all right.
So can you hear me fine?
I can hear you perfect.
Okay, great, great. So let's just jump into it. I just want to kind of find out about who you are, like, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you got started in this field and why you started your company, all that good stuff.
Okay, I'm so glad you said why I started this field, because when people say who you are, where you're from, what you're doing, I wear so many different hats, from military to, business owner, cake decorator, chef. But the nonprofit world started, when I went to chef school, and I was at Johnson Wells thinking, you know what, I don't want to be an executive chef, but I want to use these skills to teach people who can't afford to go to pay $40,000 for a culinary arts degree. And so I started my own nonprofit culinary arts job training program.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I needed to get that 501c3, and I called every attorney I knew in the phone book, and their fee was like $5,000. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't have that kind of money. So I said, there must be a way. I was determined that I can do this myself. And I went to the public library and I found one book. Now there's dozens of books on how to start a nonprofit, but that one book walked me through and guided me through the process. I got my 501c3 first time, and
Wow.
people started saying, well, how did you do that? And I said, that was easy. It was easy to me to do the 501c3 paperwork. So I started doing it for other people.
Mhm.
And it got so, I guess, overwhelming. I said, you know what, I need to start charging people because this is just too much. You know how it goes.
Yes,
And yeah, so people started paying me to do it, and then that evolved into a business. So that's really how I got started in the nonprofit world.
okay. All right. So you started a culinary arts job training program.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that go? Did you train young people?
We train welfare work recipients, formerly incarcerated men and women, people who were really down on their luck and could not find a job so easily as the average person.
Yeah, that's awesome. I worked for Job Corps for a little while. We had a culinary arts program that
Wow.
was for, disadvantaged youth, and they loved it. I mean, it was awesome. They were able to get some really good jobs working in, restaurants, on a cruise ships, and I
Yeah.
mean, that's awesome idea that you had. I think that all entrepreneurs are visionaries, and we wear multiple hats, multiplying talents, right? We have multiplying talents. I'm sorry, I'm outside and I got
Okay. I don't
bug.
see it. You probably see it, but I don't see it.
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure the audience doesn't think I'm crazy because I'm swiping everywhere. But I have I don't know what mosquitoes or something, but that's a wonderful program. So I commend you for doing that. That was great. So you helped other people. How many nonprofits do you think you've started?
Well, You know what? From 1999 to 2004 or 5, I had gotten to over 500, and I said, I'm just going to stop doing it.
Wow, 500?
Yes, more than that. I wish I hadn't stopped counting, because then I could, use an exact number, but I'll say over 500 now.
Wow, that's amazing. But that's over like helping people before you even started your business and then into the business. Are you including all of that experience, all that time?
No, I'm including just helping people get their 501c3, just preparing their documents for them.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Well, I have several people that are interested in this field. They want to start a nonprofit. They think it's very easy. They have an idea, right? They say, okay, I want to feed the homeless and I need to get a grant, Chandra. I need a grant. I need $10,000 grant. Can you tell me how to do that? I get that all the time. Right. What advice would you give somebody who wants to start a nonprofit tomorrow and they have no money to do it? Right. What advice would you give them?
Well, I get that a lot. People say, I need a grant. They need a grant to start a nonprofit. Well, it's very rare that you'll get a grant to start your nonprofit. Think of your nonprofit, it is a business. So very rarely you're going to get, people have to apply for loans to start their business. So the advice I would give anybody who wants to start a nonprofit is really stick to what you're passionate about. And then use your talents and skills and abilities. Because I have several people who sing, so they go and do singing, live events at clubs or different places like that to raise money to put into their nonprofit. Sometimes you have to use your skill sets to bring in money. But if you don't have that, then partner with another nonprofit, because just starting out, it's going to be very hard to get a grant initially.
Yes, I like that you said that, because I tell people that to partner with an established nonprofit that has been, that has some funds. Right. And that could possibly be your fiscal sponsor or your fiscal agent. Can you explain what that means? What a fiscal, and is there a difference, or is it the same thing?
Well, it's used interchangeably, but a lot of times there are nonprofits who are busy doing what they do, and then you might have the skill set to do something else that they want to add on. Let me give you an example. Say there's let's say a Boys and Girls Club, and they want to add on a nutrition program for kids, or another fitness element, something new with technology. They don't have the capacity or the manpower. They may have the money, but they don't have the manpower, and you have the idea, and you go to them with the idea, and they say, okay, we'll let you do this project under us using our funding, and if it goes well, the next time we'll write you into the grant so that you get funding for your nonprofit.
There you go. That's the perfect way to collaborate, right? Where you don't even have to come out of pocket. They're going to fund you, and then the year later or a couple years later, they're going to include you in the grant, and then maybe you can branch out, right, and use those funds to start your own program that way.
Exactly.
Yes. Good collaboration. That's what I've told people too. So that's a great idea. Now, so once they have the idea, you tell them maybe, to collaborate with somebody and but what if they don't want to do that? They want to just start the nonprofit. They just want to start the paperwork and then start looking for grants. Would you tell them to do the same thing? Or do you think a new nonprofit has a good chance of obtaining a grant? Like how likely is a new nonprofit able to establish or retain a grant?
Okay, I never say never. So, right. And grants come in different forms. When we think of grant, you and I may think of the grant writing. Sometimes grants can come in the form of somebody donating a building. See, a grant is simply a gift. Yes. So, it could come in many forms. So I never say never, but I say that it's very hard when you initially start. Say I want to start a nonprofit tomorrow. Usually I'm going to start with friends and families to donate to my organization or to give me, funding to start that. But to apply for a grant from a foundation or a corporation, a lot of times they want to know that you have some history of success. You've been in existence for more than 1 year. You're not going to start today and then close down, next year.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's great. So can you tell me, about some grants. Like, where can people find grants once they are established, once they file their paperwork? Where are the best places to find grant money?
Well, there are multiple. I tell people first to start on the local level, because your local level is interested in what's happening in your community. So you can start with local foundations. Usually there's community foundation, a list of community foundation. You can Google that, community foundations in, California, Los Angeles, or whatever. Just, you can Google that. Also, there's the foundation.org. That's kind of like a central warehouse. They have over 80,000 lists of foundations. I will tell you that some of it, when you get to a certain point, they'll let you see a little bit, but when you want to see the 80,000, you have to pay a membership fee. Mm-hmm. So when you're serious into grant writing, you may end up paying some money for membership. But like I said, start with local level with corporations. People don't realize that every major corporation has to give away a portion of their money, or they're going to be taxed on it and lose it anyways. So start with what's locally, and people say, well, where should I start? Every day you're driving down the street, you're seeing a major corporation. Right. You got Staples, your grocery stores, you're seeing. Yeah,
Chevron.
Exactly.
They all have philanthropic bodies of their organization, right? That's what I try to tell everybody. You go to their website, go to their corporate site, and you search for it. You dig a little bit. Sometimes they're hiding right on the little bottom, link at the bottom. But every corporation that has millions and billions of dollars have to give that money away, right? So we should, we need to, that's where we can find the money as well. But those are even harder because it's very competitive, right? These corporate grants are very competitive.
It is competitive, but you know what? I tell people, don't worry about that. Go and build a relationship with those grocery store managers, because a lot of times I've gone in and they say, oh, you know what? No one has come in to ask this month.
Yeah.
So we'll just give you all of it. We'll give you the whole 5,000 because they divide it. Let me use Walmart as an example. They divide all their money up between all their Walmart. So each month, I'm going to throw out a number. It may be lower, maybe higher each month, but they may have $10,000. Hi, Maurice from Dallas. How are you? They may give away $10,000. And so, of course, several people will come in and get it. But if no one comes in to get it by the end of the month, then all that is yours. So hit them up. Hit them all up.
Yeah. I think that's important too. And that you hit on is about relationships, and with these foundations, right? With the community foundations, with the community giving directors at these corporations. There's always somebody that handles these bodies and these parts of the corporation. These people need to be your best friends if you want this money, right? You need to know them. You need to call them. Not wine and dine them necessarily, but you need to be in that circle. You need, as somebody looking for that money, you kind of need to just find out what they're interested in.
Exactly.
You need to know exactly what they want to fund, right? Because some corporations and some funders, they only want to fund things for children.
Exactly.
They only want to fund things for elderly or things for the homeless. They're not just giving money, whatever. And I think that's one thing that people are mistaken. They don't, oh my goodness. Oh, sorry. I'm not going to do this outside in the evening anymore.
Just ignore it. It
was like a little beetle, and it was going to touch me, so I had to get rid of it. But some people think that it's just general funding, but really they pick who they want to give the money to, and very specific on what kind of grantees that they want to give the money to, right?
Right. So you always have to read the grantor's criteria, and that way you're a fit for them as well.
Right. Hi, August. August is she is a partner with me in business and a wonderful entrepreneur. Thank you for watching, August. Appreciate you jumping on. But
and I saw Kim too, Kim in Tampa, Florida, and some people in Dallas. Hi guys, thanks for jumping on.
Kim and Maurice.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions regarding nonprofits, please comment.
Yes.
We want to get those questions in. But I think that was some great information. Is that these grantors are very specific in what type of money they want to give away, and they're like you said, develop those relationships, go into that Safeway, go into that Walmart, and
Yes.
talk to the manager, talk to the district director or district manager, and you never know. You never know what kind of money you'll be able to get, because like you said, sometimes people don't apply because they don't know where to apply.
Right. And you have to be consistent too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Persistent, right? Too consistent and persistent. So you have to be calling them all the time, like, hey, is that grants? Is it open yet? Because sometimes, right, they have opening times. Sometimes they have a grant in the fall and then in the summer, or different quarterly. There's different times of the year that they are opening up the grant money. So you really have to be vigilant, and you have to pay attention to when these grants are open.
That's right.
Right. Okay. So tell me a little bit about your book, and what if people were going to look for your book, which is called the Power of the 501c3. Why did you name it that? And what can they learn if they buy your book?
Well, there's a subtitle after that one. There's actually two books. The Best Guide for Nonprofit Corporation is for people who want to start a nonprofit that's not religious, non-religious, like not a church or a ministry. The Power of the 501c3, the subtitle is for churches and religious organizations, because a lot of churches or religious organization, because the IRS automatically say they are charitable, the key word is charitable, but they're not 501c3 tax exempt until they apply for it. So a lot of them assume that they're automatically 501c3. So I wrote the book to walk them through the steps of doing it themselves, trying to empower them with, how to stay compliant with the IRS, reading, a lot of people don't realize there's so many other things once you get your 501c3 that you need to read,
right,
and learn about the world of the nonprofit world.
Yeah. I think so many people that want to start a nonprofit, they get overwhelmed by that process, the 501c3 filing process, and they just give up. And then they just start kind of doing it on the fly, out of their pocket, and just, doing the charity work that they want. But if they really put the time into it and invested in it, and to filing the proper paperwork, they can really, like you said, they can go find those $5,000-$10,000 grants. For small nonprofits, those are not hard to obtain. $1,000 here, $500 here, $5,000. And if this is not your full-time gig, then that's okay, because that money is going to go to the services that you want to provide. So, so I think people get very overwhelmed at that process. Can you tell us what Multiplying Talents does to help nonprofits that are overwhelmed, and what you guys offer and what you do?
Thanks for asking. We prepare all the documents, so you don't have to do anything. There's no guesswork. We prepare all your documents, your articles of incorporation, using the correct language that the IRS requires. We do your bylaws, get your EIN, which a lot of people, hi Lucille, a lot of people go on and get their EIN online because you can do it. But I tell people, don't do it, let's wait. And we also do the 501c3 application for them.
Okay. So what would you, before they even come to you and say, Aretha, I need help with my 501c3, what do you ask for them first? Like, I know what I ask. Like I say, okay, what's the name? Who are you serving? What's your focus? Do you have a board of directors in mind? They're like, board of directors? I need to have a board of directors? Yes, you do. Can you talk about what they need in regards to a board of directors, and what kind of people they should be looking for to be on their board, not their mom or cousin or husband?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, you hit it on the nail. We ask for everything. We actually have a client information form that we have on our website, multiplyingtalents.com, and it asks them, everything that the IRS is looking for. So let's talk about the board of directors. Exactly. You want to make sure that your board is not majority family. So if you and your husband on the board, you need to have 3 other people who are not related to you or your husband on the board. And also people with the skill set to help you, because you're going to need somebody to help you keep the organization healthy financially, as well as, spreading the word, kind of like a church, you're going to need somebody to spread the word about it. You're going to need all types of people, depending on what type of nonprofit. You want to seek people who are attorneys, who are bookkeepers, people
marketing,
who are leaders,
marketing specialists.
Exactly. Yeah. And then get somebody who is familiar with the nonprofit sector, because there's nothing like jumping into a world, because it is a world. People don't realize, the nonprofit is the third largest sector in the United States.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a whole nother world. And so you need to get somebody who's familiar with the nonprofit world to be on your board.
Yeah, I agree. I completely think that's important. And that's what I tell people as well. I'm like, you need to have a good CPA, right? Or somebody that could really advise you on the money, a lawyer. I mean, all these are people that you probably have in your circle, and professionals that want to sit on boards, right? Because you have a lot of professionals that want to sit on a nonprofit board, and because they need to give their time, or their company will pay them to sit on a nonprofit board because it's part of their philanthropic giving. They encourage their employees to sit on nonprofit boards. So, it's good to always just seek out those type of people. Even corporations train their staff to be on nonprofits. I know a few companies that do that. So definitely you got to have a strong board. To anything else, a precursor or something that they should do before they think about starting a nonprofit?
They got to think about their budget, because everybody says, I'm going to start this nonprofit, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to pay myself $50,000. You got to think about what the cost, what it's going to cost you. So I always tell people, start with the expenses. What do you think the expenses are going to be to operate your nonprofit? And then you have your budget. When you have the expenses listed, then you have your budget. You know what needs to come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's good. That's great information. Okay. Well, let me see. Anything else you want to give me regarding nonprofits? I know we talked about the grants. We talked about the board. We talked about the budget.
Let me say something more about the board of directors. A lot of people, you may not, you may run into people who may not have the time to be on your board, but they really, really want to help. Then ask them to be an advisor. Ask them to be on your board of advisors. That way you always have their ear. You can call them, you can reach out to them when you need to ask them something important. So, always have a board of advisors as well.
Yes, exactly. I'm an advisor on a few boards, and that is exactly the reason, because I don't have the time to go to the meetings, and they know I'm stretched, but they know I'm a resource, and they know that I'm somebody they can call and say, Chandra, can you at least host a table for our fundraiser and bring 10 people? They know I could do that, right? So that's what's good for having an advisor, or somebody that say, I just need a $500 check. Can you ask 5 of your friends for a $500 check? That's what you can use, those connections for, those higher level connections for people that you need to bring in extra cash and to help you fundraise. Yeah, that's important to have, right? It's important to have those connections to certain people within the community, and to make sure that you guys, raise money outside of grant money.
Right. Well, I want to add something else. Since we're flowing into the grants, you definitely need your 501c3. A lot of people start with the articles, they incorporate on the state level, and they assume they're nonprofit, and they start their business, and they've been doing their business for 3 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden they apply for the 501c3. Well, a lot has changed with the 501c3. Once you incorporate, you must file for your 501c3 within 27 months.
Oh, in every state?
In every state, because what the IRS is doing now, in 2011, they started making nonprofits do, 2010, they started making them do 990s, which is a tax form. Remember, you don't pay taxes because you're tax exempt, but it's a tax information form that the IRS is making nonprofits do, because they want to make sure that you are doing what you say you're doing. So on that 990, it lists some of your activities and your income and what you did with the income. It's just an information form. That way they know that you're not private, or you're not somebody who's funneling money to a foreign organization, Al Qaeda or anything like that. So you apply, and if you don't apply within 27 months, now this rule only applies to all nonprofits except churches. Churches are kind of grandfathered in. But if you don't apply for that 501c3 within 27 months, what the IRS is doing, they're taking people's money. Yes, I'm saying it. They're taking people's money, whether you pay the $850 fee, the $450 fee, or the $275 fee, because there's 3 application fees, They're taking your money, and then about 6 months later, you'll get a letter saying, "Hey, you didn't do your 990 3 years in a row, so we're gonna revoke your 501c3, and you have to reapply again." So they're making a ton of money doing that because people don't know what they don't know.
So do they come after? Will they come after you personally for that money? No. Okay, that's good. They won't come after you personally. So I think I know several people that have filed their articles of incorporation, and they do assume that they're a nonprofit. So tell us that process, that difference from articles of incorporation, and then that's a separate application for the 501c3?
Absolutely. So you incorporate on the state level. When you incorporate on the state level, you are a legitimate legal nonprofit, but only on the state level. Next thing you do is get your EIN, which is like your social security number to your article, to your business. Then you apply for the 501c3. So that's your tax exempt, and it covers, all 50 states. So you are a legal federal tax exempt organization.
Oh, okay. Okay. So did you hear that, everybody? You need to really pay attention. And this is why you need people like her company and Aretha to do your paperwork, because I'm telling you, I don't want to deal with all that. I don't want to deal with the articles, with filing, doing the 990, all that. I need somebody to do that for me. Can you tell us the different services you guys provide?
Well, we do the 501c3. We also do grant writing workshops. I'm getting ready to go to Dallas. So Maurice, I hope to see you in Dallas. We're getting ready to go to Dallas and do a grant writing workshop and a 501c3 workshop. So beyond doing the paperwork, because we can do the paperwork, but we really like to empower people and educate them to do it themselves. So if you are a person who either want to learn about the nonprofit, in the tax world, then come to a workshop or buy a book and try to do it yourself. Beyond that, that's, when it comes to grant, I used to do grants. I used to do the grant writing, be on a grant review board, but I got, really thinned out. So I refer them to other excellent grant writers that I know. So if you do need a grant writer, then you can certainly contact Multiplying Talents, and we will help you find a grant writer.
So you guys have like a resource list of grant writers that and they write grants nationwide?
Nationwide. It's people I've been working with for years. Yes.
I did that for a little while, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
I love it.
Yeah, people don't realize, and I want to tell people who are listening, if you want a grant writer, awesome. It's on Facebook. If you want a grant writer, or my website, Maurice, then excuse me. Keep talking while I drink some water.
Okay. Yeah. So it's very important to make sure you have a good grant writer. I know that for sure because some grant. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was going
to say, if you want a grant writer, be grant ready. And what I mean by that is a lot of people say, write me a grant, but you don't have nothing written down. We got to pull out of you. What's your mission? What's your vision? Who you help?
That's a whole nother job. That's a whole nother job to do that.
So get your list of things that you've accomplished, what you want to accomplish. What's your short-term goals? What's your long-term goals? Who you're helping, the who, what, where, when, and how. What's your demographic? Right. So be grant ready. So the grant writer, because, you're paying by the hour. So you want to be grant ready so you don't waste their time. And so that's
for sure. Because you will be paying more money if you're not ready. Be grant ready. I love that. Be grant ready. And what that means, like you said, the
workshop name to that. I think I'll change my workshop name to that. Be grant ready.
There you go. Yeah, that's a perfect workshop name, because I think a lot of people don't know that, right? They don't know to be grant ready. You gotta know who are you going to serve, right? How many people are you going to serve? You want me to write $100,000 grant? Okay. Well, what are you thinking? How many people? Like, what areas in the city are you going to serve? You got to have to know all this stuff. And this is what a grant writer will pull out of you as well, because we don't know what we don't know. Right. For people that are not involved in nonprofits, they don't know what they don't know. They don't know they're supposed to know this stuff, right? So we have to tell them what to give us. Those are all the tidbits that you need to give a grant writer. Probably save you some money. Yes. If you give them as much information as possible of what you're trying to receive or who you're trying to serve, the more information you give them, the better and the easiest and less time it's going to take for them to write that grant. Correct?
Yeah. And not only that, it's exhausting. Hi, Laquita in Tennessee. It's exhausting for you to try to run your nonprofit, and I'm sure you have a family, and I'm sure you may have another job. It's exhausting for you to try to, give the grant writer what they need when they need it. So that's why you need to take the time and, come to a workshop or go read a book and get educated on the whole grant writing process so that you can be ready.
That's right. So I want to open it up to questions. I know we have some people that are watching live, and I mean, this is the opportunity. You have Aretha, you have myself. I've worked in nonprofits for several years, and everything she's telling me is everything I tell everybody all the time. And these are just things you learn over a period of time when you're working in nonprofits, that this information that doesn't come just because, just over a couple years. This is things you've learned within time. So if anybody has any questions, please pop a question and we'll put it on the screen and we'll answer it. If not, I'm just going to tell you about what I do a little bit and share with you, Aretha, and your friends that are here online, is that I'm Chandra Brooks, also known as the Socialpreneur. I started my business because of the Women's March. What I've seen is that several women wanted to lead, whether it was in their community, they wanted to be activists, or they just wanted to lead somehow. And I said, you know what, this is a great opportunity to help women lead, whether it's in politics, in their community, or in business. So that led to me starting the Socialpreneur. So what I do is I coach women to be leaders in politics, in community, or in business. And I do workshops, I do webinars, I do little courses, and I also started the Futurist Female Radio, this is a segment from my podcast that we'll be uploading on iTunes. And we talk to women politicians, we talk to women CEOs, we talk to women business owners like yourself that specialize in certain things, and we uplift it, and we try to empower other women to take action in their communities.
Wow. So. I want to give you a hand clap because I think you are awesome. I think you're awesome. And while you guys are typing your comments and everything, we met via Facebook, and then we connected immediately. And it's been years and years that we have, connected and talked over the years. And so I'm so grateful for the connection. Thank you, Kim, for posting that. She posted the website
on the screen too, so everybody can see it, because I don't know if everybody can see that, but I'm going to put it on the screen so everybody can see it. This is her website, multiplyingtalents.com. You have a great team because they're on it. So I'm telling you, they're like, let's put the website on so everybody can see it. So thank you, Kim. We appreciate it. Yeah. We can't wait to get Aretha back to Tennessee. We will be grant ready when you get there. So people are ready for you. Good. Bring to California. How do I bring you out, like, to California? Like, who do foundations fund you, or is it organizations? Is it churches mostly? How do you get out to these different states?
It's different organizations, and what I do. Of course, I go to Texas a lot because I have a home there, but. And my son's stationed in California, so it's easy to get me to come to California now. Okay. But I tell people, just be the host, find the location, get people registered, and, I'm on my way.
Well, I know they got to pay for you, though, to get there. They got to pay for you to get there, and they got to pay for your time. Yeah, absolutely.
What I do. Mm-hmm. And everybody who's listening know me, and they know my heart. For people who have a nonprofit or think about starting a nonprofit, like yourself, we can do it as a fundraiser. You set up everything, you're hosting, and we get the registration. We can talk more about this online because I want to give all my stuff away. So
we did say that, right? We said we're not going to give them. We're not going to give them all the good stuff. We can't give them all the good stuff because we should charge for this, right? This is and this is what I tell people. You don't understand this free information we're giving. Take advantage of it. Jump online, watch these shows that I give, because every time I put a show up, it's giving you some good information. We're not going to give you everything because we'll be here for hours and hours, but we're giving you a starting point. We're giving you a starting point somewhere for you either to share it with a family member or somebody that you know that wants to start a nonprofit. A few weeks ago, I interviewed women CEOs that started from the ground up, and they talked about how they started their multi-million-dollar companies. And I mean, this is like stuff that people pay for. People buy books to do this stuff. So take advantage of these opportunities when you have people, knowledgeable people in your face teaching you and telling you something. So we got the website down. We talked about your book, and anything else that you want to talk about, Aretha, before we sign off?
Yeah, I just want to encourage people, if you have a heart to do something in the community, make sure you follow that, because it's nothing like being obedient. But before you do that, go ahead and write the vision down. The vision is not just for you, it's for everybody that you're going to come in contact, because you don't know who the person is going to help. There's a question I think on screen. You don't know how you're going to affect people. So make sure you write your vision down, write down your who, what, where, when, and how, and be ready for when the opportunity comes, when somebody, you never know who you're going to run into, and they have money and they were looking for somebody just like you. So just be prepared. Don't just jump into it, thinking, oh, it's a great idea. Make sure you're passionate about it.
Right. So Maurice has a question. There are several companies that help with funding. Is Amazon listed as one of the companies?
Absolutely. You can go to Amazon, their website, and like I said, sometimes it's hidden. It's not. They don't want everybody begging them for money. Yeah. So a lot of times these funders have different things. They may use code words like, reaching out. Some of them use different names. It's not going to say grant on their webpage.
Community giving program, right? That's one.
No. Some of them say social responsibility. You have different words they use that are, saying, hey, apply for us. But yeah, Amazon is a big giver. They are a big giver. And now they're wrapping up hiring all over the world. So they have some money to give away because they're making a lot of money.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's what I tell all these billion-dollar companies. They have to give a certain percentage away. So they got that money to do it. So you just got to find it. You got to dig a little bit and do some research for it. And then the government grants is a whole nother level, right? And actually more complicated, and it could be a little headache at times. But I think that's how I learned. I taught myself how to write the grants. I would see these big. I worked for a nonprofit, and the CEO gave me a chance. He made me director of a division, and I was like, I saw that was my bread and butter. If I was going to continue to have my job, we needed to continue to bring in the grants. So I taught myself how to write the grants. I would study big, thick federal grants like this, and I would read them, and I would look at the way they were written, and it's a very persuasive type of writing, right? It's not just, you're not writing a report, you're persuading this funder to give you the money. You got to make them want you. You got to make them want to give you that money, like, oh my God, this is an awesome organization. We want to give them their money because they're going to do great things, and they have done great things already. So it was a certain type of way that I learned how to write the grants from small. I felt if I learned how to do those big federal grants, I can do the 100,000s. The 250,000s are simple piece of cake grants to me now. So it's a skill that you need to learn if you want to write grants. But if you have the money to pay somebody to do it, that's even better, right?
And you know what? If you don't have the skill set and you don't love writing and reading, because in order to write a grant, you got to read a lot, and you got to read over and over and over, because you want to make sure. If you say, oh, they said this, but you read again, no, they said that, no, they said you can't do this. So you got to read. It's kind of like a lawyer. You got to read all the time.
Yeah.
Where you understand what they're asking for, because you can miss one little thing and that's it.
Oh yes, that's a good point, right? That is a good point. Like if you forget a document, right? If you forget to put in your what would you say, maybe the board of directors or something, just one piece attachment that they've asked you to put in there, and if you don't put it in there, you're totally disqualified.
Right, that's right. So and exactly, you got to make your own self a checklist. I tell people that make your own checklist when you're writing a grant. So when you're going through it, write down something, oh, they said do this, so, or highlight it, but a lot of things are electronic now. So you really have to pay attention. We're always in a hurry when we're doing things electronic, but you have to pay attention and read. Yeah.
And that is a good point, that people have that I know what people have done and I've seen done is that they just disregard it. They disregard the guidelines of the grants. They even though it says, oh, we want to serve African Americans in the city of this city, and they just totally ignore that part and they just write it, and then they're mad because they didn't get the money. But you can't be mad because you didn't read the instructions. You have to read the instructions because organizations and companies get very specific on who they want to give their money to. So you can't just say, well, my program's good, so they should want to give it to me. I've heard that too, and that's not true because you'll find somebody that wants to give to you. You'll find there's niches in everything. Everybody wants a certain type of focus area that they give to. So you really have to have a checklist. And I remember those checklists because you will be told you will lose millions of dollars if you just missed a few papers, or if you submitted it 1 minute past the deadline, that it needed to be stamped. It needed to be stamped or it needs to be electronically stamped.
You're making me have a flashback because I wrote a grant for somebody and the deadline was at noon. It was due at City Hall at noon, and he went in there like, no speak English. They were like, don't try that. The deadline was noon, and but we submitted next year. Yeah, he got it. But
yeah, he's like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. I've seen organizations get really mad, but say you wrote, I remember that I wrote a grant. I remember I did this. It was a funny story. I wrote a grant and I finished it in time. They took forever to read it, to proofread it, and to get it through the CFO, to get it to the CEO. And then they made it late. Like they had somebody else deliver it in their staff, but they try to blame me for it. They don't want to pay me. They don't want to pay me, but they're the ones that made it late, not me. You gave it to me late. I did the best I could. I gave it to you at least we were like at the deadline, like hours, but they had to get it there and they got it late. Wow. So, you just got to pick the right people to work with, and you got to know what you're working. You have plenty of time. Don't do last minute because it's either going to be sloppy and it's not going to be a quality grant, or you're going to get it in late. So,
True.
So Aretha, I just want to say thank you for being here. I don't know if you want to say anything else. I think you already kind of told people if you want to do something for the community, then just get out there and do it. And I truly believe that. I mean, if you go to my website, it's social-preneur.com. And what I tell people, what I do is ignite that socially conscious human inside of us, because I think we all have that. Yeah. We all want to give back. We just don't know which way. And what I try to do is help people figure that out, help you figure it out. Do you want to run for politics? Do you want to start a nonprofit? Do you want to start a business and be a leader in business community? There's several ways you can give back to your community. And we all have that. We all want to give in some way, somehow. So this is one avenue to do it, and that's starting a nonprofit.
Right.
So thank you, everybody. I don't think we have any more questions. Aretha, I put the website back up on there. They could find you. Her book is The Power of the 501c3. And what's the tagline? What's the other part?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought I saw something behind you. Don't look. It's something behind you.
Okay. There's no animals behind me.
Right. The Power of the 501c3. And why every church needs one.
Okay. All right. So for the churches too. So thank you so much. If you could find her book, they find it on Amazon?
Yes, ma'am, on Amazon. Thank you for the opportunity. Girl, it's late over here in Florida. It's like almost my bedtime. So I appreciate
you. Get some rest. You get some rest, and I thank you. I appreciate you, and I'll be talking to you soon, okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.